Hello, and welcome to On the Turf, hosted by three guys who have never been on the turf. My name is Arjun and Rohan.
I'm Rohan Patel.
And it's been a couple weeks since we've been doing the full show. I did my power rankings last week, and we still don't have Shree on the show this week, but we're bringing back Dylan Phan, our Seahawks Chargers fan. Came on in the playoffs last year after Brandon Staley's loss, and we were like, oh wow, is Brandon Staley going to get fired? No, he's still there. But the Seahawks and the Chargers have really big games this week in Week 6, and a lot of interesting things we're going to talk about with them and all the other teams in the NFL. But first, Week 4 and Week 5, we saw a lot of interesting games that we didn't really get the chance to talk about. The Niners, as we're going to get into, I'm sure, in Dylan's power rankings. I hope they're at 1, but the Niners look like the best team in the NFL, and in my opinion, the best team in the past 5 years I've ever seen through 5 games.
The Niners look dominant. I'd like to issue my apology letter to Brock Purdy.
Yes, I was just about to get to that.
Yeah, I can't lie. I think that's warranted. Do I think he's a game-breaking quarterback? No. Do I think he's a very good quarterback who does his job to perfection? Yes, and there's something to be said about that. It'll be interesting to see where they go going forward, but Niners look really good. I just think that the dearth between them and the next best team, whoever you want to think that is quite big.
Dylan?
Definitely agree. They're at the top of my power rankings. I don't actually think it's close.
Yeah.
They've shown no sign of weakness this season.
I mean, the thing is with the Niners, it's like the past couple of years, I think we finally see the offense Kyle Shanahan wants to run with the Niners, which is with Jimmy Garoppolo, we're like, oh, this is a really good team. They're really good at yards after the catch and things like that. But Jimmy could only really throw the middle of the field. He wasn't really good outside the numbers. But now with Brock Purdy, get him moving, they can throw it deep finally. I think this is finally Kyle Shanahan in the last pick of the 2022 NFL draft finally got his quarterback. But we'll be talking, I'm sure, about the Niners for the next couple months. But let's start off. We talked about Dylan's power rankings, so let's start off. I'm hoping the Seahawks will be on this. We'll see if the Chargers make it on here. But number 10, who do you got?
Number 10, I got the Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence has had a struggling start. Since then, he's been going on the up. And so very excited to see what they do after their 2 wins in London. I know this week they've got a pretty big in-division game versus the Colts, and so we'll see what they can do against Gardner Minshew, and who I love.
Yeah,
Colts. I don't know why. The thing with the Jaguars for me is that it's just a lot of inconsistent play, right? Like you lost a game, or you played the Colts I think closer than you should have week 1. You get blown up at the Texans, which doesn't make much sense, and then you come back with a really good win against the Bills. Do I give it an asterisk because of the London game? I don't know.
No, you can't give that an asterisk.
I mean, okay, fine, that's fair. But, I mean, it's just the Jaguars, they were this team last year where, we didn't know which team we were getting. The first half, we thought they were, underperforming. Second half, they turned it up. This year, it's the inconsistency again. Which Jaguars team are going to get week to week? You just don't know that. I think 10 is a good spot for them.
I would put them higher. I'll say Trevor Lawrence has been PFF's one of their top 3 QBs this year. He's had a lot of drops.
I put them higher, but it's also the I don't know what the defense is. Is the defense the one that's going to get dotted up by C.J. Stroud, or is the one that can really hold this what was a really dominant Bills offense back?
Yeah.
What are you getting with it? I feel like it's too up in the air to really say what you're getting on that side of the ball to put them too high.
That's true. Yeah.
I'll add, I think Calvin Ridley's my X factor.
Yeah.
I think he and Trevor Lawrence, if they can click, this is a very different game.
Yeah. And, I mean, we saw week 1 against the Colts. They went off. I mean, he's had some quiet games since. We'll see if they can recapture that because the Colts' defense has been no bueno so far.
At number 9, I got my L.A. Chargers.
9?
Putting them at 9. I think I do have my concerns about their defense. I don't have an ounce of concern about their offense.
Yeah.
Mike Williams going out for the season is unfortunate. But there's no doubt about it that Quentin Johnston and Keenan Allen, who's been an absolute monster, I think they keep this up. The defense, hopefully, can do a little better than dead awful.
Yeah.
And if they can just do that, I think they got a bright future ahead, especially leading into at least this week against the Cowboys, Kellen Moore's revenge game.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that and talk about all the matchups there. But I mean, they're leading the league, or they're near the top of the league in sacks. I mean, Khalil Mack had a 6
Yeah,
sack.
6 sack game
which
definitely
that'll
helps with it.
Yeah. I don't know. My one thing with the Chargers is it's not even the defensive personnel. It's just coaching. I don't trust Brandon Staley anymore. We've talked about that over the first couple weeks of the season. You know, we've got a clown coaching matchup this Monday night with Brandon Staley and Mike McCarthy. We'll see which one outclowns the other with their analytics. But that's the only thing with the Chargers. If they win on Monday, they'll be in the top 10 for sure.
Yeah, I don't hate the top 10. I think they're again, like you said, their offense plays up to that bill. Their defense, I mean, it's looked better. I mean, holding Kirk Cousins and the Vikings to 24 points. Sure, 24 points isn't great, but it's a little bit better from what I would expect, honestly, from how bad that defense looked the first 2 weeks. 6 sacks the next week is a good sign. Is Joey Bosa coming back soon at any point?
He's playing. He's just not making an impact.
Yeah. Wasn't he out?
No, he's been there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
You would think so, but he's there.
But I don't hate him at 9. I think, yeah, like you said, this week will be a good litmus test for them.
At number 8, hot take, the Cowboys.
Okay.
I think the Cowboys are a little high after this San Francisco loss, but I still do have faith in the Cowboys, and I think that they can be more consistent. I think this Niners game is just says a lot more about the Niners than it really does about the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys against pretty much any other team. I know they struggled against the Cardinals, but when they keep their lead up, when they have a lead early on and they can pound the ground with Tony Pollard, the Cowboys are still a good team. Definitely can stand their ground against any of the other teams in the league. I think it just really showed all the mistakes and how maybe Dak isn't as good as sometimes we want to give him credit for against the Niners.
You know who the Cowboys remind me of? And this is not a good comparison, but they remind me of the 2020 Steelers a lot.
Really?
They've got a really good big play defense that gets turnovers, that a great pass rush, gets touchdown, is going to win them games and has won them games. But then they've got an offense, and I'm not comparing. I think Dak Prescott is better than whatever Big Ben was in 2020.
Better person too, I will add.
Much better person. Couldn't be more different. But I mean, like what the Cowboys lack, or what the Cowboys I guess have in quarterback compared to the 2020 Steelers, the weapons nearly aren't just good enough. I mean, CeeDee Lamb is the only threat on that team. I think that's showing.
Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard's
good.
Pretty viable threat. Yeah.
True, but beyond that, it's a bunch of wide receiver threes. You know, the tight ends aren't making an impact. Dalton Schultz, I think, was a bigger loss. And Amari Cooper was a huge loss for this team 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. I think once you get rid of Kellen Moore, you're going back to the Mike McCarthy's was a Texas Coast offense. And it's not good enough. And it's old-fashioned. It's nothing like what we're seeing from Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, all these people who are coaching up great offenses. And I just think, you know, the Cowboys, I picked them to be a Super Bowl team. I agree they're going to beat a lot of teams this year. They're going to win 10, 11 games. They're going to be in the playoffs. But once they start facing good offenses in the NFC, I just don't think they can keep up.
Yeah, I think that's a big point that you brought up, is that this team is not built to come back from those deficits. If you put the ball in Dak Prescott's hands, he's not going to get it done for you. I think Dak's a serviceable starting quarterback. I think he's fine as a starting quarterback. But the issue is that, again, like you run that Texas Coast offense, you're not pushing the ball downfield. You're really focused on like quick reads, getting the ball out quick. They talked about that last week, how Dak's getting out quicker than ever in his career. But when you run that type of offense, you're not building an offense that can come back from those leads that you saw against San Francisco. And I think the reality is that the Cowboys defense is good enough where they're not going to be in that situation often enough. I think that warrants them being like 8, maybe even higher. But I don't think they can be Super Bowl contenders with the way this offense looks right now.
Yeah.
Just want to pose a random thought. What if Dak was on the Niners?
I've thought about that.
They would still be a good. I mean, it's like the same Kirk Cousins on the Niners kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think they'd be about the same, maybe a little bit better.
I think the thing is Dak's lost a lot of his athleticism that he used to have, and that's something Purdy has the edge on. Like, I mean, think about it. Like, I think Dak on Dak or Kirk, or take your pick of what, you know, fringe top 10 quarterback you want there. Like, they just don't have the athleticism, and that's the problem with Jimmy too. Jimmy couldn't push the ball down the field. Jimmy couldn't hit, you know, throws really outside the numbers. And we saw them. They can still be a really good team. They can make the Super Bowl. They can make the NFC Championship. But, I mean, 10-game sample size with Purdy, but I think, you know, they're capable of more with him.
That's true.
All right, at number 7, My Seattle Seahawks.
I like it. I love the Seahawks.
All right. Here we go. And what I think is perfect was that their bye just came last week at a time when they were really hurt. And so now that injury report is a lot slimmer than it was before, and this is a very young team that's still getting to know how to function together. Under Shane Waldron, I'm really liking what the offense is bringing. I want to see Jackson Smith and Jigba get involved more. But the defense is on the upswing. They need a little bit more of a pass rush, but I'm becoming more confident with their secondary. The safeties have always been good, but now we got Devin Witherspoon on the opposite side.
Top 5 rookie.
Tariq Woolen. I'll hold off there, but
Jamal Adams?
On the upswing.
Yeah.
On the upswing.
We're moving forward.
Wait, how long is he?
No, he should be back.
Jamal
He's
Adams
back,
will be
okay,
back
okay,
after the I'm pretty sure he's cleared. He's limited in practice right now.
Okay. I don't know. Like the Seahawks, I guess I shouldn't put too much stock in that week 1 loss when the offense didn't look that good. But the Lions win was really good. I don't put much stock in the Giants win. Who's the other one? The other team that they beat? It was the
Yikes. Wait, why am I forgetting this too?
The Panther?
Panthers.
The Panthers.
Yes, yeah.
Can't put much stock. I can't put much stock in that one
I
too.
forgot the Panthers
unfortunately.
existed.
Yeah. I think they wish that too.
Yeah.
But like, essentially, I think they took advantage of defenses that aren't that good, to begin with. So yes,
Okay, put some respect
they
on the
looked
Lions,
good.
please.
The Lions are good, but is their defense that good? I don't
Their
know.
defense is it's top run defense in the league. Pass defense.
Exactly.
But-
It's a passing team, I think, with Geno, Lockett, and Metcalf. So Lions, Seahawks, yes, they're good. Are they great yet? Are they top 7? Are they? I don't know. I think I take proven teams who have beaten actual competitors rather than the Seahawks, whose I think only really good win is against the Lions.
I've been like high on the Seahawks since before the season, and I still remain really high on them.
Oh, makes 2 of us.
Yeah, I love what they're doing. I mean, Geno for me is he's like a Jared Goff quarterback. He's the kind of person who's been disrespected for some reason for the past couple of years. I mean before last year. Okay, maybe a little bit.
reason.
Okay, but after last year, there should be no reason to doubt Geno.
I thought it could have been a Case Keenum season, you know?
No, but his completion percentage was near the top of the league. He was if you watch the games, he was clearly playing at a very high level. I think he's going to continue to do that. I think the big thing for me is the offensive line getting healthy. Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, I think, were out the past couple games. Yeah. They still did well against the Giants, the backups, actually. But once they put them back on the field, they can take the tight ends off, stop playing 12 personnel, and they can put Jackson Smith and Jigba on. Yeah.
There we go.
And that's where the offense, I think, takes off. And I think the sky's the limit for this offense. And Charbonnet is getting more involved too. So they just have a ton of options. And as long as the one thing is that, this is way down the line, but I think in November they play a stretch where they play the Niners, Dallas, the Niners, and the Eagles in 4 successive games.
Yeah.
That's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see. They need to start getting wins soon. And we'll talk about their game this week in a little bit. But they need to start racking up these wins through October before they get to that stretch.
For sure. At number 6, I have the team that Seattle beat.
Whoa.
The Detroit Lions.
They should be higher.
They should be higher.
They should be higher. Much higher.
And I honestly was considering just putting Seattle above for the win, but the Lions have looked really good, and I don't really know how I could knock them down from there. I do think my 5 teams above them are better. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what you're seeing here.
Buffalo?
I don't know, man. The Lions look really good. The Lions look like their offense has everything you could ask for.
Yeah.
It has. I mean, literally every weapon that you want on the offense is there. They got your power back, who's Dave Montgomery is incredible. They have that change of pace back in Jahmyr Gibbs.
Needs to get healthy.
Yeah. Fantasy aside, Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he's done what they need him to do offensively.
They even really need him.
Yeah, he's efficient with his touches. He's good offensively as a change of pace back. You got your star wide receiver. You got your burner now, and Jameson Williams coming back, and then you got some nice other weapons in Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond.
And let's not
forget. Let's not forget.
I was afraid for a second.
Let's not forget the #1 fantasy tight end, and arguably one of the best tight ends.
The second
already.
coming of Travis Kelce.
Yeah, Sam Laporta.
He's been great for my team.
Yeah, Sam Laporta's been amazing. He's been a great red zone threat. He's been a great safety valve for Jared Goff. Goff is playing nearly mistake-free football. Offensive line looks great. Nothing to complain about there. Defensively, the run defense has looked good. Their pass rush is good. Pass defense is secondary, I think, is the main thing that's going to be the cause for concern of this team down the stretch. We saw that be an issue with the Seahawks. They lost Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right, or C.J. Gardner, whatever his name is, for the year. That's a really huge loss.
They lost Emmanuel Mosley last week.
Yeah, lost Emmanuel Mosley too. So you're losing your corners, you're losing your secondary. That will be, I think, the biggest thing that could come back to bite them. As of now, I think they still should be higher based on what we've seen, based on how just multifaceted this offense is. But the defense is the only cause for concern there.
I'm a big Lions fanboy, so all I'm going to say is I think the Lions are the biggest threat to the Niners, and we will see that come January.
That's not true.
Yeah. And the NFC, they are the biggest threat to the Niners.
That's not true.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's not true.
I don't have doubts that the Lions can score. I have doubts about
the Lions' defense.
Them outscoring other teams.
Yeah.
When their defense is going to give up.
Look, we saw the Seahawks. Last year, the teams that got to the Super Bowl and got to the championships were the teams that could win in the trenches. And the Lions are maybe the Eagles and the Niners. Those three teams are the only three teams who can do that, I think, in the NFC.
I think the Eagles and Niners have better trenches on both sides.
Well,
confidently.
I don't know. I think the Lions might have the second best offensive line in football next to the Eagles.
I think the Niners are better too.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll discuss this. But okay, moving to number 5.
Number 5. It is the Bills. Buffalo Bills here. This is honestly less about how they've done so far, but more about their ceiling. Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, if something good happens if they don't throw tablets at each other, then this could be good. I think the Bills' offense is definitely a strong one, and they're explosive when they need to be. We saw that against the Dolphins. I think their defense can be strong as well. That's Sean McDermott's thing. The Bills are a good team moving forward, and I have a lot of faith in them actually looking at Super Bowl hopes.
Really?
I would have agreed with you a week ago before all the
a week
injuries.
ago. Yeah. I mean, they lost Trey White for the year.
Trey White was awful. No, the loss was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. You lose Trey White. You lose Matt Milano, who's, I'd argue, top 5, maybe even top 3 inside backer in the league. He's really good.
Yeah.
This season especially, he was playing really, really well.
Good linebackers though.
What? Okay, yeah, but
I mean, he makes a really big impact on that defense.
And I think that's a big loss. So defensively, you're looking at some bad things. The thing with the Bills, I feel like we do this every year.
Mm-hmm. They're the September champions.
Yeah, they play well. They'll get a huge win, like the one against the Dolphins, and then they followed up with just this disgusting loss. And hey, what's going on? This reminds me of that loss. I think 2 years ago, the loss of the Jaguars. in a 9-6 game. Yeah, and we were like, what are they doing? And they were fine.
This is a little bit better of a loss, I think.
Yeah, it's a better of a loss, but it's like they just had these games where things aren't adding up. And on the defensive end, you had the injuries. I get it, but it's like on the offensive end, why are you struggling? You have everything you need. So it's like they're good. I can't deny it, but the consistency is the biggest thing. And then on top of that, can you come back from these injuries? I don't know if that warrants top 5, Dylan.
I want to see those tight ends more involved.
Yeah.
There's 2 very good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, Camille is ad nauseum talked about whenever he's come on the show about 12 personnel and all that, so I'm not going to go back into that. But, I think the Bills are still very much a top 10 team. I think I'd put them at 6 or 7, but I think put some respect on the Lions, guys. They're better.
But yeah, the Lions look good, man.
I'll give an idea of what the next 4 are, but at number 4, we have the Philadelphia Eagles.
I like it. I like it. I respect it.
No, this is so blasphemous.
The Eagles at 4.
Oh my God, I hate this.
Where'd you want them higher?
They're number 2. They're indubitably
power
number
rankings.
2.
It's not the standings. It's not the standings.
Yeah,
oh my God. Okay. Let's hear this.
No, the Eagles, they're undefeated. I'm not questioning that. I doubt what the hell they can do against any of the teams in the top 4.
They've low-key had a cupcake schedule. They've kind of had a cupcake schedule. Week 1.
Their game against the Commanders was ridiculous.
Yeah.
How are you going to let Sam Howell do that to you? that last minute 40-second drive at the very end where Sam Howell needs a touchdown to win and they give that up and then go to overtime and are lucky enough to skirt out with a field goal is absolutely ridiculous. I think the Eagles do not look nearly as dominant as they were last year. Their path this year is going to be even harder because I think the Niners have everything that they need for a second run.
And they may not get that home field advantage.
For sure.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles are a good team. They're a very strong team, no doubt about that. But do I have questions that they could hold up against any of the other top teams? I have questions.
For me, it's actually my problem initially this season was the Eagles' offense looked a little off. I think they're back in sync. My problem has been the defense, and I think like you said, the Commanders game showed us that defense can be kind of shaky. The Vikings game, week 2. I mean, Mac Jones probably had his best game of the season in week 1. And we've seen how Mac Jones has done against competent level defenses the past couple weeks. Like, the Eagles have, again, I said cupcake schedule. They played the Patriots, they played the Vikings, they played the Bucks, they played the Rams last week, and they played the Commanders.
Yeah.
Out of those 5 teams, maybe we'd say the Rams and the Bucks are like fringe wildcard contenders, right? But
Sure.
3 of those teams are, 1-4 or worse.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think I've been on the Eagles train since last year, and yes, I agree. They don't look as good as they did last year. Yes, I agree. I think the Niners are a significant amount better than them. But I mean, I'm assuming the two teams you have in between are going to be the Chiefs and the Dolphins. They're better than those teams right now. I mean, the thing with the Niners, or sorry, with the Eagles is that their only flaw I think is their secondary. Their run defense has been good. Their defensive line, I'd argue, is top 5.
Yeah.
I think probably even better. I mean, you got everything you want there. You got edge rushers. You got
Jalen Carter.
You got incredible interior defensive linemen, So your rush defense is not an issue. They're also getting to the quarterback. I mean, this is a team that has been getting big plays defensively through that line. They're getting sacks. They got 4 sacks last week. That's forcing interceptions, forcing quarterbacks to make bad reads. Yes, it does worry me that that offenses are having their way with the secondary, but the talent is there in the secondary that I think it can step up and perform in big game situations. Offensively, the passing game looked out of sync for a while, but think about that. Your passing game is out of sync, yet you're still steamrolling teams because you're running for over 150 yards nearly every game. I mean, most teams can't do that. Teams can't do that. No team in the NFL, maybe outside of the Niners, can do that.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that they're 5-0, despite the fact that their offense has looked like really janky for a while, speaks to just how good this team is. And when they start clicking, it's going to be even more dangerous. This is a team that's like so clearly second best in the NFL, in my opinion. It's just
Do you have confidence in their run game?
Yes, they have the best.
The run game's actually the one part.
Running back room.
Okay, they have the best forget about the running back room. You could put me behind that offensive line and I'd run for 50 yards.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
okay. Until you take one tackle and then you break in half.
Okay, but you get you get what I'm saying. I mean, the offensive line is the best in the league. DeAndre Swift. The DeAndre Swift renaissance has been beautiful to watch. He looks fantastic.
The Eagles continue to bargain buy and somehow get away with
exactly,
it.
Exactly, yeah. Gainwell's fine. I don't really care about him that much. Jalen's getting his groundwork, too. He ran for over 70 yards last week. I mean, yes, this ground game can do whatever they want. And then when teams are worried about the ground game, and then you have A.J. Brown to beat you over the top. I mean, this offense has unlimited options. And we sort of saw that, I think, against the Rams, where A.J. Brown had a really big game, and the run game also had a big game, was able to ice the game away. So they have everything you want. I just don't understand, like, what's our concern here?
Actually, the one thing I'd say, now, I mean, I know I applauded him putting them at 4. I hope the Dolphins are 3, but I would put them above the Dolphins,
They're definitely
right?
above the Dolphins.
Because I would say the Dolphins have, the Dolphins are a historic offense to this point.
Talk about the Dolphins defense. I'm a
Dolphins
supporter,
the Dolphins defense is a very clear liability. So I'm assuming the
Dolphins are
Dolphins are 3. Okay. What's your reasoning there? What's your reasoning behind putting them above Philadelphia?
The Dolphins' offense is definitely going to can outscore anybody in this league.
Agreed. Yeah.
I think we saw that.
Yeah.
70 points hung up on an NFL team is not.
It shouldn't happen.
It
shouldn't happen.
I have no questions about their offense. Their defense has shown sign of weakness. But I have full confidence that if Tua's not making mistakes, this team is just going to win.
Well, Tua's thrown 4 picks over the past 2 games.
That's true. In the past 2 games. When Tua throws he gave the Giants like 102
pick six. Yeah.
102-yard pick six.
He
Things
still
like
31
that can't happen, especially if you watch the actual play there where it was a slant out.
Yeah.
It was a horrible read.
Completely just did not have a receiver there. If Tua avoids those types of mistakes, I have no question that this is the team to beat. This has become a very much offensive-minded league, and if your offense can run and fly, it's all yours. And I don't think I have any questions about this Miami offense. I want to see what they can do. I want to see what they can do for the rest, until about halfway through the season, and then we'll reevaluate from there.
I mean, the one thing for me, I know they always get beat on by Buffalo, but they got the doors blown off on them by Buffalo, and it was not just Buffalo's offense was obviously great that game, but the defense also was able to out physical Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and force two into some mistakes. I think I would put the Dolphins at 5 right now. I would put the Lions, Eagles, Niners, and Chiefs ahead of them, just because I think the defense liability, and I think with the correct defensive personnel, which maybe only the Niners have, and I guess the Bills had, you can stop this Dolphins offense.
Yeah, Dolphins offense is electric. Losing a Shane will hurt, I think, but it won't hurt that bad when you still have another burner in Raheem.
Jeff Wilson's coming back.
Jeff Wilson too, yeah. I think
Chase Claypool.
Oh man, he's deadly. Yeah, I'm the biggest Tua fan you'll meet, but the interceptions are a bit concerning, a little bit, when you shouldn't be making those types of interceptions when you have the weapons around you that he does. All I'll say is we got Dolphins, Eagles next Sunday night. I'm sure we'll talk about that game later. I think that will be the thing that proves which of these two teams is better. But the defense, I think, is the biggest concern for me in terms of can they actually stop a high-powered offense like the Eagles. They're not getting Jalen Ramsey back until December. Yeah. So maybe come playoff time, this defense isn't as much of a concern. But right now, I think it is a very, very pressing concern for them.
All right, number 2, Kansas City Chiefs. That opening loss to the Lions by a point, I'll wipe that from the slate.
I will too. I think they should.
Travis
you guys
Kelce
are doing the whole
out.
Asterisk thing that Mike Tirico did?
I think Travis Kelce and Chris Jones being out for that game changed that game completely.
It's your second and third best players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Lions beat them without Amon-Ra St. Brown last week. They beat the Panthers, but anyway, continue. Sorry.
We scratched the Seahawks win over the Panthers. But yes, this Chiefs team, when they're at their peak and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes are in their connection, I think who's going to beat them besides the Niners? Really, I don't see anyone else who can. I want to see this wide receiver room step up because I think they have.
They won't.
Some
trade deadline.
Enough for them to win.
Yeah.
But I think if they can, if someone else shows up, whether Rashee Rice continues to get better, or Sky Moore or MVS shows something more than they have already, I think this team that's the Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I Chiefs at 2 makes sense. I agree with that. I mean, you can't put Patrick Mahomes, I think, lower than that right now when they're playing the way they are. I mean, the Chiefs always tend to play. They played the Vikings in last week. They played the Jets close the week before. But this is something the Chiefs have been doing for forever. They always, and we're recording this before the Broncos play tonight. I expect that to be a close game.
Really?
I do.
I do as well.
Yeah, because it's a divisional game, and the Chiefs just tend to overlook, and it's Thursday night too, so it's always ugly. But the Chiefs just tend to overlook bad teams. But I think when they actually have to play real Chiefs football, they turn it on and they're good. Chiefs Niners, I agree. I mean, that seems like it's going to be the Super Bowl right now, sitting here in Week 5. But I think the Niners, obviously they're at 1. They're probably the only team that could really stop Travis Kelce in this team, because then you put the onus on the wide receivers. And the only way to subtract Travis, the only way to make this offense look human, basically, is to take Travis Kelce fully out of the game. And the Lions, lucked into that. But I'm not sure if any team can actually do that. But the wide receiver room is worrying. Well, and I want them to make a move for a wide receiver. I don't know how they do
I mean, here's what I'll say is that I think, again, I'm back on my Eagles thing again. Let me take a step back. First thing with the Chiefs, I think two things that we didn't expect them to do, they're doing well. That's running the ball. Isaiah Pacheco's been a revelation. He's extremely good. I think having him able to run the ball, being able to put the ball in his hands in those close game situations is huge.
I mean, he won the Jets game, basically.
Yeah, he did win the Jets game. Second thing, defense. Defense has looked, outside of that weird Jets game, defense has looked better than what I would have expected them to.
Yeah.
Their pass defense is actually not horrendous as we typically see from the Chiefs in the past years. However, put them against a team like the Eagles who can take away the run. And I wonder.
I'm getting flashbacks to February right now.
And I wonder.
I was thinking,
and we were in this exact same position. And I was the only one who was like, oh, the Chiefs the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes finds a way. And Rohan was like, no, the Eagles. And what happened?
Listen,
I came onto the show gleefully telling you how.
Listen,
the
I'm
Chiefs won.
not making the same argument, but it's like if you, I think they're relying more on the run game now than they were last year. Take away the run game,
That's a problem.
and you make it what?
That's a
No.
problem
But I'm
with
saying
their
if
run
you can take away the run game,
Then you got
then
Travis.
we go back
You
to
got that
that.
little guy
You
named
guys
Travis
have
Kelce.
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
maybe it's an issue. Maybe an issue is all I'm saying. And then again, defensively, they're good. Can they really lock down some of the better opponents that we're talking about, such as the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Niners? I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they've been tested in that regard yet. So
I'm just saying,
they're
Rohan,
good. They're good.
I don't
think
fault
the
you for
Eagles are
making
better.
the mistake
I think the
back
Eagles
in.
are better.
I don't fault you for making the mistake back in February.
Fool
But
me
come on,
once.
don't make
Fool
don't
me
make
once.
don't make the same mistake.
Fool me once, shame on you.
Yeah.
Fool me twice, shame on me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm willing to be fooled twice. I think the Eagles are better right now, but we won't know. We won't know until they play.
And obviously, the Niners have won. We already kind of talked about them.
Really, I was thinking Baker Mayfield.
Sorry.
I think the Bucs,
Sorry.
I think the Bucs are not as dominant. Niners could go undefeated, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got the Eagles week 13, I think.
That's
Yeah.
the game to look. That's the only game to look for. What do they have in the next?
Yeah, I mean,
5
they got the
weeks, 6 weeks
Seahawks
that we
Thanksgiving, maybe.
Seahawks
Divisional
could steal a
divisional game.
I guess, but it's just this. No, the Niners just look different. The Niners
Yeah.
look different. Like they're like their defense is like so scary. It's swarming. It's like covering everything. Like you have all pros at every single level.
Yeah.
You know, like you got Nick Bosa on the line, Fred Warner linebacker, Talanoa Hufanga at safety. Same thing on offense. You got all pros at like every position outside of quarterback. But even then, you don't need a all-pro quarterback. You just need an extremely serviceable, extremely efficient Brock Purdy at quarterback. Everything is there. Everything is there. The one thing I'll say for the Niners is that I think the only thing we'll talk about is like, is this a Super Bowl team? You know, down the
I
stretch.
thought you were gonna say like backup quarterback.
Oh no!
I was
Like,
Well, last season.
last season was good
concerned
enough.
Too, but
I think
Darnold's
Sam
great.
Darnold would be good.
I'm
yeah.
confident in that too. So
Yeah.
I think the
I
one
have
thing
no
is
questions.
like usually we tend to see Super Bowl winning teams have like game-breaking quarterbacks, right?
Brock Purdy's a game breaker.
Is he?
He is. He broke the game on Sunday.
I mean, like yeah, he did, but also like
Come on. I thought you said
it
you were.
wasn't McCaffrey's day.
Yeah.
It was
No,
George
that's
Kittle's.
that's
It was
actually the
George
best.
Kittle's.
That was the biggest part of the game. McCaffrey was averaging 2.5 yards a carry, and they put up 42 points.
That is true.
Like I was
That's
saying,
why I'm
McCaffrey was the
confident,
MVP a
Purdy.
couple weeks
There you
ago,
go.
but after Sunday, I'm like, no, this is Brock Purdy's team.
No, McCaffrey is still the MVP of
What?
this Niners team.
How?
I think.
Brock Purdy has been consistent every single game. He hasn't thrown a pick. He's leading all NFL QBs in passer rating, like throughout the 100-year history of this league.
I mean, I don't think this offense works the way it does without such a versatile weapon. As
I'm not
Christian
saying
McCaffrey.
take away McCaffrey, but I'm saying if you're saying who is the player that has taken this offense to the next level, it's Brock Purdy.
No, it's not. It's McCaffrey. It's McCaffrey.
I think they complement each other. I'm not even gonna give.
Yeah,
pick
I
one
mean
or the
it's
other.
it's
I
all
think
a beautiful.
these
it's a
two-
beautiful
Yeah.
Kyle
system. It's a beautiful machine.
Kyle Shanahan is just. I don't have no.
He's coach of the year.
I have no
undoubtedly.
notes.
That's it. There we go.
Yeah.
Niners at 1.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. Cool. All right. Niners at 1. We agreed. So let's move into previewing a couple games from week 6 to come. So first, we have the Seattle Seahawks. Your number 7 team, facing the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals blew the doors off the Cardinals last week.
Yeah.
Is Joe Burrow back or the Cardinals bad? Maybe both are true.
It's both.
But the Cincinnati's favored by 3. We saw, Cincinnati 2 weeks ago. Very different story. They got destroyed by the Titans 24-3, but favored in this game at home. I think this is going to be a shootout between these two teams. I think the Cincinnati defense has been, here and there, played okay against the Cardinals.
I wish I was talking to that.
Seattle's coming off a bye, which helps them a lot. Pete Carroll's a good coach. I'm sure you'll have them well prepared. They're finally healthy on the offensive line. I'm going to take Cincinnati here just because I think Burrow is back. He looked different in that game than he has this entire season. I expect Jamar Chase to have a good game. I think T. Higgins might be back. But I think it's going to be a fun game for both teams. But I expect Joe Burrow to lead a last drive to clinch the game.
I don't know. This one's difficult. I think it really depends on where Joe Burrow is at. I mean, last year Jamar Chase did unspeakable things to my team. And can he do it again against a much better cornerback room in Tariq Woolen and Devin Witherspoon?
Who can you name a corner on the Cardinals? I'm curious because I can't.
I can't.
Catrell Clark. I think he was our.
I learned something new today.
He's our cornerback
There you
one.
go.
Yeah, obviously, right? That's why we got torn up. I think the Bengals are on the upswing. I think Chase has another good game. We'll talk about Devin Witherspoon. We'll talk about Tariq Woolen. I don't know if they're going to be if they're capable of fully covering Jamar Chase. Also on top of that, I don't know if the Seahawks pass rush is going to be fully capable of making Joe Burrow feel uncomfortable, making him feel his injury. Because of that, I'll take the Bengals. I don't know. Hawks look good too, though. I expect there to be a lot of points in this game.
If there's anything I've learned of watching the Seahawks for 10 years is don't bet against Pete Carroll on an early morning game. Because I don't know what the hell he's doing. No, I don't know. Pull up the record. Someone has got to pull up a stat. But whatever Pete Carroll's record is on, 1 p.m.?
Yeah,
1 p.m. games.
1 p.m. Eastern games is ridiculous. When you don't put them in the spotlight and you bring him to the East Coast, suddenly he's phenomenal.
When he's in the Octobox, he's undefeated.
Yeah.
When he can hide.
Yeah.
And then coming off this bye, when the team is getting a lot healthier, I have a lot of confidence in Seattle to take this one. I don't think it's a shootout. I think we're looking maybe about 24-20 kind of game. So not so much like a high scoring up in the 30s that we've seen both teams put up. I'm not sure what I see with Joe Burrow right now. I know he had a great week. That's 1 out of 5. And in the first 4, he looked injured. He looked hurt.
Yeah.
He did not look good. And I don't know where they can go from
here. He was getting the ball out fast still against us. I mean, for the most part, the catch to Jamar were quick outs or flat type of routes.
But he was finally able to push it down the field.
He was pushing it down the field. He was sliding in the pocket a little more. He's stepping up in the pocket as well. So I think he looks better. And I think the Seahawks have to be able to dial up enough pressure. I think one of the X factors in this game, though, is going to be the Seahawks run, Kenneth Walker. I think the Bengals' run defense hasn't looked great all year. If they can sort of put the ball in Kenneth Walker's hands, let him run, and then open up the play action, open up the pass game through there, maybe that helps the Seahawks. But maybe I'll regret this, but I'm still going to say Bengals. I don't know why.
Yeah, I could very well see the Seahawks winning this game. Like, I would not be this is like a 51-49 game for me at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
I thought you meant the score.
Oh, no. Like percentage-wise.
Yeah, percentage-wise. All right, next one. Another, of these good games. Detroit Lions. This game got flexed from 1 o'clock to 4:25. Lions are finally getting their due shot, but they're going to Tampa, face the Buccaneers off a bye. Baker Mayfield have been having a pretty good season. The Bucs 3-1. Didn't expect them to be here, but they are. But I love the Lions. I'm not gonna go against the Lions. I think they're gonna win this game by at least a touchdown. I just think they're firing on all cylinders. Amon-Ra St. Brown should be back. This Buccaneers team hasn't shown the ability to run the ball consistently. That's the difference for me. I think the Lions are just going to wear the Buccaneers out offensively with their run game. We'll see if Jahmyr Gibbs comes back, but even without him, David Montgomery's been a stud. This offensive line's going to win the game as they have won a lot of games this season, and Jared Goff's going to continue his number 1 PFF season right now with another great game. He is number 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Lions win by more than a touchdown. I think it's going to be a similar game for the Bucs as that Eagles game.
Yeah.
I think like DeAndre Swift. I think that was the one where he ran for 175 yards. Or was it that one? Or maybe it was the week before.
No, that was the Vikings.
But I mean, the Eagles ran all over the Bucs. Regardless, I think same thing can happen against the Lions with David Montgomery. This team's too good up front. I think the Bucs are a good team. They're a good team that'll beat mediocre and bad teams. They're not a team that will contend with the upper echelon of contenders. I think they lose this one, and Lions win pretty handily.
This is a scary trap game for me.
For the Lions, you think?
Really?
Yeah.
I'm definitely, my instinct is the Lions, but something scares me about this one. Baker Mayfield looked good for the Bucs, and I don't know why. And I've never ever.
He does this. He always does this.
He's pulling this chip on the shoulder,
An angry Baker is undefeated.
I love seeing Baker succeed, though. I love seeing Baker play good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking the Lions. I'm not confident. I'm not gonna put my money on this one, but yeah. This is a trap game in my head.
I do understand that. I think if Baker gets a chance to push the ball down the field against, like we'd been talking about earlier, a team that's been banged up in the secondary, maybe, I think it's really big on Mike Evans being healthy too.
Watch Mike Evans.
Yeah, maybe Mike Evans has a big game. Maybe Chris Godwin has a big game, and they can blow the top off this Lions team. But I think ball control, the Lions can hold the ball, run the ball down the Bucs' throat, and I think just win the game pretty simply that way.
I mean, the thing with the Bucs are they've beaten Detroit, they beat the Saints, they beat the Vikings, they beat the Saints, and then they beat the Bears. I mean, like you said, I think the Buccaneers are a team that's going to beat bad teams. When they're facing these good teams, I just don't know what advantage they hold in this game besides maybe the weapons.
Yeah.
And like quarterback, I would give to the Lions. Running game, Lions. Run defense, I would give to the Lions. So they're just the pass defense and the weapons that are going to decide this game, I think. But I expect the Lions to win. All right, last one. This is why we brought Dylan on the show. Big game, probably the best game of the weekend, and it's on Monday night. Dallas Cowboys coming off a 42-10 loss. We already talked about this team in detail about all their struggles, but they're going to face the Chargers with their former offense coordinator, Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore revenge game. We talked a lot. I think Kellen Moore was hired right when we brought you on last year. So the returns have been pretty good so far. Dallas is favored by 2, which I'm not sure why that's the case.
I think it makes sense.
I guess.
I think that's the right line.
Yeah, I think that's the right line.
But I think this is going to be... I don't know if Dallas can actually put up a lot of points. That's the one thing. Like, Dallas has not been asked to put up a lot of points, and then when they were, they couldn't. I trust the Chargers offense. I trust Justin Herbert. I think the Cowboys are going to get some big plays to CeeDee Lamb because of the Chargers defense, but I trust Justin Herbert in the 2-minute drill at the end of this game to get it done. I just think they're the better offense, more dynamic, and if you ask me which quarterback I would want the ball in their hands, it's clearly Justin Herbert over Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it is Justin Herbert over Dak Prescott, but then weird, like on the offensive end, it's a stoppable force meets a very movable object, The Cowboys are stoppable. I think we saw that against the Niners if you force them to throw the ball. But will they be forced to do that? I don't know. I think the Chargers offense has looked bad enough, and the reality of it is that if the Cowboys can play their brand of football offensively, they can move the ball down the field. Put the ball in Tony Pollard's hands. I think he does enough. Get the balls in the hands of your playmakers, namely CeeDee Lamb. They can do something there. I think if the Cowboys can just, play smart football offensively and just run it down the Chargers' throat, they can get a win that way. And then when it comes down to coaching, I mean, I don't really trust Mike McCarthy, but I trust him a little bit more than I trust Brandon Staley. The past 2 weeks, Staley has made critical mistakes with clock management and with choosing to go for it or not go for it, right? Going for it twice on 4th down against the Vikings and Raiders, turning it over. They get lucky both times, but you can't make those mistakes consistently. I think they come back to bite you. I think I'm going with the Cowboys here. I think this is a good bounce-back win for them. The Chargers' defense just doesn't look good. Their coaching doesn't look good, and the offense can only do so much. And again, the Cowboys' defense is decent, right? Yeah, the Cowboys' defense is not bad by any means. They just were playing a very, very good offense, a very well-balanced offense. The Chargers... I think if they slip up just a few times to this Cowboys defense, which again has been historically good throughout the season outside of the Niners game, if you slip up just a few times, that's enough to lose. They got to play near perfect football, and I don't know if they're capable of doing that. So I'll take the Cowboys, maybe like in a 3-point win, 23-20.
I don't know. I think it comes down to whether or not Dak turns it over.
Yeah.
I see this being a 28-24 Chargers win. And I think it's going to come down to the end. I think Herbert's going to get the ball with 2 minutes left, like you said.
Yeah.
It's going to be a final drive, and it's going to be some other whack stuff going on. Whatever Kellen Moore decides to pull out of his back pocket for his little revenge game. In terms of the Cowboys' offense, I think we're going to either see Brandon Cooks or Michael Gallup show up this week. And I think it's going to be primarily because the Chargers' defense just isn't there. Remember, the Chargers coming off a bye. So that's something that they got going for them is at this point where, because I think a lot of people would say at least the Chargers are top 10 roster, maybe probably higher, top 7, top 5 definitely. Roster. And really the question is, where's this defense? They have all the pieces, but it's not meshing together.
Yeah.
And as much as I want to say this is the week that they do it, I've been saying that for a year and a half. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think that they take their stand here against the Cowboys, coming off with with a ton of rest off the bye. Cowboys down after the loss. I think they're going to suffer after the second one too.
I just think if the Chargers end up winning this game, especially in that fashion, like Justin Herbert goes down the field, like I think the pitchforks are going to be out for Mike McCarthy. Because think about it, Kellen Moore beats
that's true.
Beats the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy's whole thing this season was we're pushing Kellen Moore out. I'm taking over play calling.
Aren't the pitchforks already out?
Well, I think there's going to be he's going to be on the stake. Yeah.
Oh man, and the thing is, the more Herbert keeps dragging these teams to victory, the lower the lower the ceiling becomes for the Chargers, because it just gives Brandon Staley more job security.
Yeah, it just gives Kellen Moore head coach next year.
Hopefully,
yeah.
Just get Brandon Staley out, please.
But yeah, that's about it for this episode. We had a lot of fun. Thank you, Dylan, for coming on the show. This was fun.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully, when I think the Seahawks are going to be back, we'll see the Chargers sneak in. But if either of those teams or if one of them sneak in, we'll definitely have you back in the playoffs. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Please check out our Instagram for power rankings, picks, and all of our other fun stuff we have coming down the pipeline. We have a lot of interesting games coming up. We'll have mid-season awards coming up pretty soon. Yeah. And in a couple weeks, it'll be 2 years. 2 years of On the Turf. 2 weeks, 2 episodes from now, I think maybe we'll hit episode 50 by then, because I think there's like 48 or 49. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. Please keep listening. And yeah, my name is Arjun and Rohan.
I'm Rohan Patel.
I'm Dylan Phan.
And we'll see you next week on the Turf.